What's good, everyone? How's it going? This is Ransom SF4, or Ransom for short. Welcome to my first ever Pokemon Wifi. Well, first episode of my battles. And we're going to take a look at a Wi-Fi battle I just had at least an hour ago, and it was quite a very close and very good match. And one of my favorite ones. Now, this is actually my first Pokemon Wi-Fi battle, and you might be asking, how come you never did one before? I did have this game ever since December, simply because my friend gave me this game as a Christmas gift, and I'm actually starting to get back to the Pokemon series again. And I've already made myself a good team with some perfect IVs, two of them not perfect IVs yet until I get the ones I want. But this is the team I'm using so far. And I know you might be looking at the video, why is it so blurry? Unfortunately, I tried several tests before. For the camera, since I don't have live streaming equipment or whatever until in the future. And unfortunately, it's going to be very blurry at the start, but I guess once the replays start, it is going to clear up a little bit, just not by a whole lot. But during parts like this, it's going to be very blurry, so I'm going to have to show you a bit of the Pokemon I have and the opponent's Pokemon. And I also want to mention that I made an update video yesterday, 2 days ago actually, that I was going to do one episode of Pokemon Wi-Fi battles every Friday. I decided for the first one to release it a day early, simply because that this Friday is going to be the release of Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze. And I'm going to be doing a playthrough of that game, uploading some videos of it every day, until I eventually play enough of the game to do a review of it. And so forth, and so because I'm going to be in the middle playing that playthrough, plus I am in the middle making a perfect IV rain team. And actually, I already got 4 of them done. One of them was from the help of my friend, which is Polito. I got perfect IV Dryskin, Toxicroak, and let me see what else. Oh yeah, Slowbro and Goodra. I got those ones down right now. I just need to use the 2 of the Pokemon I want, and then my rain team's complete. So this episode's first episode which is this one, is gonna be released a day early before Friday. Second episode will be delayed for an extra week, actually, so I can finish Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze, or just play it for as long as I want. And then at the same time, perfect IV breeding a rain team. So anyways, let's take a look at this match quickly. Just to let you know, the only 4 Pokemon I have on my main team that's perfect IV bred is Tyrantrum, with a I believe I gave him either Jolly or a Timid Nature. No, it was a Jolly. Gave him Adaptment of Nature, Perfect IV Infernape, who's pretty much my revenge killer for most of the time. Not much of a physical sweeper, but he's a good revenge killer. Actually, if you set him up right. Dusknoir is both my physical and especially defensive wall. He's a very tough wall to take down. With Corson, the ability to pain split and stuff, he's a very powerful wall. Especially my Venusaur. My Venusaur is a very strong wall as well. Can take any hit thanks to his thick fan ability and Mega Evolution. He's pretty much going to take any ice or fire type move. Unless you're up against a super powerful special attack or physically attack fire type Pokemon like Charizard or something like that. The other 2 Pokemon I do have to make perfect IVs up is going to be, that I have so far, are not so perfect IVs of Greninja and Drapion. Drapion is my main Toxic setupper or Hazard setupper. The only downside to my team is that I do not have a Rapid Spin Pokemon. That's the only biggest disadvantage of my team. Or pretty much one of my biggest disadvantages until I get a perfect IV Protein Greninja and a perfect IV Battle Armor Drapion, who's going to mostly be my physical wall, with good attack and good speed. So that's pretty much my team, just to let you know. My main team, I do have several other teams, but the rest of my teams, other than my rain team, are not perfect IVs. Because I do have to make perfect IV versions of those teams in order to make them better. His team, however, is a pretty good, very strong team. He's got Mega Scizor, which is always a big threat, but luckily he's not that huge of a threat in this team from what I did from the choices I made. He's got Cresselia, or whatever that Pokemon's name. Supposedly it's supposed to be part Psychic and part Fairy type. Actually, it's actually quite a neat set he gave for him, but he's got that monkey Pokemon, which I don't really remember his name, but he's the evolved form of Ambipom or some, whatever that Pokemon's name is. He's got Terracoil, which from what I looked up, he's a very powerful Pokemon, and for many people said he's one of the biggest threats on almost any team because he's very tough. He can either be a physical wall or especially defensive wall. Oh, plus he has extremely good attack and good speed, and he can easily outspeed a lot of Pokemon if you give him a choice scarf. And his Rotom is interesting because his Rotom is not the Rotom wash that everyone uses. It's the Rotom Lawn one, which basically is part grass and part electric. Which is very interesting in my opinion that he has one like that. And then he has Golurk on his team, which actually that's kind of interesting because I barely see anyone use Golurk on their team. Yeah, I have a Golurk, but I don't have a perfect IV one, but his is interesting because he has one. Actually. But, sorry that I've been chit-chatting a little bit. I just want to mention some stuff. This is a really good battle, so I'm going to go ahead and show you this battle. This was quite a good match. So you're going to see why. I'm just going to turn up the volume a little. The volume, so sorry that you can't see the text. I'll comment it towards you for a little bit. So he starts off with Golurk. I start with my Dragon as my main lead, pretty much most of the time. So I go ahead and set up Toxic Spikes, just to get the hazards out there. Luckily he doesn't have a Toxic Pokemon, Toxic type Pokemon, and luckily he does not have a Rapid Spinner. So his Golurk can starts off with Stealth Rock, which I didn't even know that Pokemon can actually learn that. So now he's going to send in Scizor, which I go for the knockoff, but it's not going to do that much damage at all. Well, not that much damage at all, and honestly this is his Mega Pokemon, as you can tell. So he's going to make it evolve. I actually go for the Fire Ring. I usually save this move for Steel types or maybe Grass type Pokemon. As you can tell, that did quite a lot of damage, and he goes for a Swords Dance, actually, and that's really good for me because now that I know how to outspeed it, he's going to go for Bullet Punch, but as you can tell, my Dragon has such good defense, it takes that Bullet Punch very well. So I'm going to finish it off with a Fire Ring. I understand he goes for Bullet Punch because of priority-wise, and just to dish out as much damage as he could with the Swords Dance. That is a good play on his part, but he does realize that his Scizor cannot do anything since I have Fire Fang. So now he's going to send in Terrakion, and I tell you, from what I looked up, this state is so powerful and such a huge threat. And one of my main goals for this was to get rid of his Terrakion so that the rest of his team is not as huge of a threat as I thought. So he goes for close combat. So he's going to go for a close combat. He does get affected by the Toxic Spikes. He's going to slowly take a tiny bit of damage. So I'm going to send in my next Pokemon, which is my Greninja. This is a Focus Sash Greninja, but unfortunately because of Stealth Rocks, it's now completely useless. So he's actually going to switch out, I don't remember what I did. Did I go for Dark Pulse? Oh no, I completely forgot. I actually went for a Dull Switch in prediction of him saying a different Pokemon, but the one I was expecting was Golurk or something, and I was not even expecting his Rotom. So I sent in my Duskull. Look like he's going to take back a bit of life. He's going to go for Will-O-Wisp, which unfortunately that sucked it for me simply because I completely forgot that Rotom any form can learn Will-O-Wisp, which sucks because now his Shadow Sneak's not going to be that useful that much. So I went for my Curse Effect, and I do gain back a tiny bit of life right now. And the main point of my Duskull is pretty much he's a sacrifice type of Pokemon. You use Curse and you stall him out for as long as you can. And until he's forced to switch out, you can set up another set. And that's what I am doing here. I use Protect to stall him out. And he actually does in fact go for a Volt Switch. Which is good because all you need to do now is just simply stall out, give back as much life even with the burn effect. So the Curse comes into effect. You're going to actually see how bulky this Duskull actually is. I give him perfect EVs on both his defense and special defense. Take a look. I have only 8 points of HP left from 38 left, and that Volt Switch did nothing. And I went for Pain Split in prediction of Volt Switch. And this is good because now I gain back a ton of life from almost all my life back. And this 50% of his life is now gone for that reason. But, however though, it doesn't go out the way I wanted it to go for, at least for a few turns, simply because I didn't know what moves this thing could learn, or what it could use. So I get affected by the burn. I actually go for the Sash Sneak, which I know for a fact it's super effective on her, but because of burn, it's gonna do a little to almost completely nothing to her at all. Very unfortunate. If I was not burned, I think maybe that would have done a little bit more damage, but because I am, my attack got cut in half. He goes for Moonlight to recover some life back. Not really that bug fight, so my main goal for Dustwolf, just dish out as much damage as I can and just stall him up. And since I now know for a fact he has Moonlight, he goes for an Ice Beam. I think the reason he went for that was probably just to dish out damage, hoping that the Curse/Burn thing would kill me. But thanks to Leftovers, though, I do take at least 1 or 2 burns, and that's actually really good. So yeah. So my main goal for this was is to pretty much try to make him waste all of his Moonlights. That way he has none left. That's usually when I see Pokemon with that. That's usually my main goal. Just stall them out, make them waste either some moves or some other stuff. Until now, I learned the 2 of this Pokemon's moves. Ice Beam and Moonlight, so forth. So he went for an Ice Beam. I luckily did protect myself with Protect. Because honestly, there's not really that much that Cresselia can do. Now, I was thinking he might be forced to switch because of Curse, but he actually goes for an Ice Beam. I actually went for Pain Split in prediction of him switching out to a different Pokemon so I can gain back a lot of my life back. But I think he probably knows that's what I was probably going to go for, so that's why he went for Ice Beam. And the Curse is slowly going to dish out massive damage on him. So I'm going to go right ahead and go into my Greninja. And I'm trying to remember this one. Did I go for a Dark Pulse or did I go for Skull? No, I actually went for a Dark Pulse. Actually, but no, I was using Dark Pulse in prediction of Golurk, but he actually switches into Rotom, which is actually a nice move, actually. So, now he's got a... This is a Citrus Berry Rotom. Most Rotom launchers I see usually use Recover, Rest, or some... whatever comp was. So, I go for an Ice Beam. Unfortunately, though, however... Ice Beam did not kill him. And unfortunately, I made a mistake right here. I actually went for Dark Pulse, actually, to try and flinch him. What I should have maybe done was go for Ice Beam to kill his Rotom. That was unfortunately a big mistake on my part, and I completely screwed up. So, and unfortunately, at first I thought I needed Greninja to help me out in this match, but no. So he uses Volt Switch, he switches out to Ambipom. I think that's the name of this Pokemon, I think. Or is it the pre-evolution form? I don't know. So he gets poisoned. And this was my perfect opportunity to show off my perfect IV Tyrantrum. And I want to let everyone know, this is a Life Orb Tyrantrum. Actually, and you're going to see how freaking powerful this Tyrantrum is. I maxed out his EVs on attack and speed, and I gave him a Jolly Nature to make him fast. At least as fast as he possibly can to outspeed some Pokemon. So, he's gonna go for U-turn, which does pretty decent damage, I have to admit. And now that I know this thing is a Life Orb one, so he goes for the switch, and which doesn't bug me too much. I know that he has to switch out, which gave me a perfect opportunity to go for a Dragon Dance combo for a free thing. And he's badly poisoned, so I go and go for a free Dragon Dance, which is really neat that this thing can learn Dragon Dance, which honestly it's very good. Because now he's going to outspeed all of his Pokemon. Unfortunately, though, I don't make a huge sweep here. It only lasts for a few Pokemon. So, I go for Crunch. This is the strong durability Tyrantrum. With the Crunch, actually, plus Dragon Dance, it does massive damage, plus with the Life Orb. That stuff. He now sends in Rotom. Which obviously he knows for a fact that he has to make them the Death Rush so he can get a free switch. So, so I kill off his Rotom, obviously because I do outspeed to stay after one Dragon Dance. But he's not going to send it back Lefty Jr., and this was a good move on his part, simply because he went for Fake Out, and he knows for a fact that he knows for a fact because I'm at 50 points of HP, one more attack can easily take me out though. Which again, it is a good move on his part, actually, but it doesn't really matter. At least Tyrantrum did his job. He at least killed as many Pokemon as he can with that Dragon Dance setup. And I'm really proud of Tyrantrum that he at least did his job. He at least got rid of some Pokemon that were kind of going to be annoying. And I just need to see him. So I can't see because this is on top of my Chesterfield thing. So he sends out his Cresselia. I actually sent in Kerchak. And I do not remember if I was down to my last 2, actually. I think this was my last 2 Pokemon. My last 2 were my Kerchak and Fee. So as you can tell, that U-turn actually did pretty decent damage on him. And this is a Metronome Infernape. So I sent out my Venusaur. Actually, I had another perfect IV Venusaur that I had on this main team for a while. It had Sleep Powder, Civ-Assist, Leech Seed, and Sludge Bomb. However, I decided to take that one out and put it on the Sunny Day team, which I'll make sometime in the future. And I replaced it with this one, which has Giga Drain, Leech Seed, Civ-Assist, and Sludge Bomb. And I think it's useful because with Toxic Spaces, Sleep Power becomes completely useless. Actually, so he's gonna go for an Ice Beam and take a. You're gonna see that it does nothing to me at all, even though it's very blurry on my screen. Like, I'm gonna tell you that only did at least 20 to 25 points of damage, and thanks to Thick Fat, it cuts the super effective damage of Ice Beam in half. So that does nothing to my Venusaur at all. And pretty much the rest of the game is pretty much just stall him out, take it some life back with Leechy to make up for the ice damage. And since I know for a fact this thing does in fact have Moonlight, my main goal for this Pokemon to make it useless is just make him waste Moonlight damage. Actually, just make him waste Moonlight and dish out some massive damage in return to force him to use it. That was one of my main goals for this team right now. And so I go for Sludge Bomb and stuff, and unfortunately I can't move my fan because the mess I made. And, oh, 40 turns, that's what it said, okay. It goes for another Ice Beam. Again, that only does like 22 points of damage thanks to Thick Fat ability. I think if Venusaur didn't have Thick Fat ability, I think that would do at least 40% damage. But thank God for Mega Venusaur's Thick Fat ability. It makes him really good as a really good bulky wall. So he goes down to light. Again, my main goal was to make him waste as many Moonlights possible, or make him waste all of them so that his Cresselia is completely useless. And as you can see, I used Giga Drain. Even if it was a wasted move, I didn't want to waste all my Sludge Bombs. Because actually, I wanted to save them for, like, since they do the most damage. So Life Orb, Leech combo, he goes for another Ice Beam. Again, it gets do absolutely nothing to me at all. That's almost like as much as a non-super effective move. Like, not so effective move. That's very surprising, I have to admit. So I'm gonna take back a ton of more life right now. And, so I gave back some life. I think I decided to switch out here, I think if I remember, since I do outspeed this thing. I just need to remember, what did I do here? Did I switch out or did I go ahead? No, I went for a Sludge Bomb. Oh yeah, that's right, that's because this Cresselia is actually faster, that's right. Anyway. Where is it? Yeah, that is right, his Cresselia is faster, so... Oh yeah, okay, this is when I switch back to my Fernape. I don't want to keep him inside and waste any moves for Venusaur, so I decided to switch to Kerchak. And by the way, yeah, I named him Kerchak after the gorilla from the Tarzan movie. So yeah, I did predict that he was going to go for Moonlight. Even if he used Ice Beam, it would have no effect on my Fernape at all. Well, at least does barely any damage to my Fernape, even if he went for Ice Beam. So, there we go. I'm going to use Leechy, get back some of the life I just lost from that Stealth Rock. And surprisingly, I gained back a ton of life, I have to say. So, I'm going to go and go for Flare Blitz, which unfortunately, I thought it would do a bit more, but apparently, that's when I actually learned. This thing actually not only has Toxic, and that's the reason why he did not use it on my Venusaur since I'm part Poison. Well, Venusaur's part Poison anyway. And that's when I also learned that Cresselia is mostly a physical wall, not much of a special defensive wall. So, unfortunately, I don't want to risk Venusaur dying, so I decided, you know what, I'll go ahead and keep Infernape in. As you can tell, like I said before, this Infernape is a metronome Infernape. Okay, so every time I use the same move, it's going to get more stronger every time. And stuff, and I'm pretty sure a lot of people don't normally use Metronome on Infernape or anything like that. But trust me, Metronomes on some Pokemon, depending which one you pick, can be a pretty good item. So anyway, getting back some Life Orb, I went for that Flare Blitz. Like I said, second time, Metronome's effect comes in. It does more damage. Unfortunately, the Toxic's going to deal more damage every time. But like I said before, Infernape is mostly a revenge killer, so I'm not going to let Venusaur die. I need him for Cresselia, so I decided to go for him. So I go for Blurryness thinking, oh, this is going to do no damage. And surprisingly, it did a lot more than I was expecting, even with the metronome effect. So he's going to take a tiny bit of damage. I decided to go ahead and go for Mach Punch, because I don't know if I'm fast in this thing. I think it is faster, so I went for Mach Punch. And surprisingly, as I found out, his thing is in fact faster. Actually, because my Mach Punch is priority and Quick Attack is my priority. So what that tells me is that his Terrakion is faster than my Infernape. Which, I think maybe deep down he was thinking that he probably thought that my Infernape was faster than his Terrakion, so that's why he went for Quick Attack. And now that he knows that he is faster than my Infernape, then yeah, he should have maybe went for a different attack to finish him off. So anyway, my Infernape died from poison. At least I got rid of his Terrakion, which is good, because now it's down to the final matchup, which unfortunately for him, which I forgot to mention earlier that in this match I realized that my Venusaur is a really good counter to his thing. So all I have to do now is just lead seed him, just stall him out until he runs out of moves, and then that's the end of the game. That stuff. Now my main goal is just stall him out, make him waste all of his Moonlights. And then there's nothing else he can do. He does forfeit this match though, because there's nothing he can do at all to my Venusaur. So he goes for an Ice Beam again. I go for Sludge, but like I said, my main goal is just dish out as much damage, force him to use a Moonlight. Because even with leftovers, it's not gonna matter, because Leech Seed's gonna slowly take that away with how much life it takes back. See, again, he goes for another Ice Beam. Not going to do anything to my Venusaur. And it's interesting because he does actually manage to freeze him, which is which you barely see Ice Beams do that. You rarely see that happen. The one thing I was honestly surprised is that for some reason Toxic Spikes and Sludge Bomb's not poisoning him, and I was wondering why, how come? Toxic Spikes is still out there, isn't it? And I was thinking about that, and I was like, now this thing cannot be part poison. But it's part fairy and psychic. Well, maybe I read it wrong. Maybe it's just part psychic. I don't remember. So I'm still frozen, which doesn't really bug me too much anyway. Because if I was down to my best Pokemon that was a good, I would say maybe for any of my other Pokemon, maybe that would be bad. But for Venusaur against this thing, now that I know its moveset, it's pretty much doesn't bug me at all. She goes for Hidden Power, which I thought it was Pain Split because I thought one of his Pokemon that used Pain Split, but no, I actually looked at it wrong. Apparently he has Hidden Power, that was his last move. And now I know this thing's perfect moveset. A Hidden Power would take the Fire Ice attack onto the Hidden Power, Ice Beam, Moonlight, and Toxic. And since he can use Toxic on Venusaur, that's going to be bad for him. And there you go. That was the last turn. He forfeited the match. He realizes that there is nothing he can do, even if he freezes me. None of his attacks are not gonna work. His Moonlight can't do anything because he can't do shit to my Venusaur, and that's good that I kept Venusaur alive. If he was dead, I think that would have been the end of the game for me. But luckily, I kept Venusaur alive. Actually, I took out some of his threats at the right timing, and Venusaur was a really good counter to his Corcel. And so forth. If Crucella could learn Will-O-Wisp, then I guess the chances of him winning that match would have went on higher. That's what I'm thinking anyway. But regardless, thanks everyone for watching my first episode of my Pokemon Y Wi-Fi battles. Again, the second episode will come in 2 weeks, actually, because one, I'm going to be in the middle of playing Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze, and I'm also going to be in the middle of making a Perfect IV Rain team. And I think after that second episode, during the 2-week break period where I use my main team again, I'll take a break from the main team I have and try out my Rain team for a bit. So thanks for watching, everyone, for watching my first episode. I hope you liked it. First one, let me know what you think of the first episode, besides the very blurry thing that you couldn't see anything. But I don't think there's nothing I can do to fix it, but thanks for watching anyway, and I'll see you later.